Hello to all the Atlanta United fans. My name is Jurgen Damm, and you are watching Scarves and Spike, an Atlanta United podcast.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Scarves and Spikes. Tyler, Henry, Sydney here with you.
Almost the whole gang.
Yeah, almost the whole gang. Tommy is on the injured reserve list, whatever. He has a little bit of a headache going on, so it is nice.
Well, I mean, if you've watched this team, Tyler, throughout the season, I mean, it's pretty headache-inducing, so.
I mean, I can't say I blame him.
It's a good one.
I can't say I blame him.
No. But hopefully
no.
gets better soon.
Yeah, he needs to rest, relax, not think about maybe soccer.
Especially not this team.
Yeah, or if you're Real Madrid, maybe.
No doubt.
Jordan, we appreciate you
How about
joining us. We try to bring you guys some happiness in the midst of the giant thunderstorm that is this 2025 Atlanta United team. But here we are.
Yeah. So before the show, Tyler, before we started, you said you had something cool to share with us. Why don't you go ahead and share what it is?
I will. I hope it translates well. Okay, so I made a drink, as I often do, before we go live. All right. By the way.
Is that what you wanted to tell us? You made a drink?
Well, hang on. In our nifty, glass that you can get on the website, go to scarfandspikes.com, click on the shop. But no, look at this. This is amazing.
What is
I hope this translates. It probably won't. But do you see this kind of – well, see, now it just looks like fog floating around. It's it's almost like glitter.
That no.
The way the light shines in it's almost like glitter. It's gold.
I don't see it from my perspective, but I'm sure from yours it looks amazing.
Yeah, see, now it just looks weird. It looks like
I see like things in there, but I think it's just ice.
Well, no, it's actually it's not. That's the thing.
Hallucinating.
It's not.
Hang on. Let me unfog the back.
Did you just say he's hallucinating?
No, there really is glitter in it. No, I don't.
All right, come on, fine, get up. I'm gonna have my drink.
Symptoms of watching Atlanta United: hallucination, headache.
Yeah. All right, anyway, moving on. I'm gonna have my gold glittery drink.
Yes.
Well, you glitter over there.
Good at least.
Sydney.
Unexpected. It was very sweet.
Sydney, we've got some soccer to talk about.
We do.
I'll do that while I enjoy my drink.
I'm sure it's amazing, the drink that you're having. What even is it? Explain to the class, I guess.
So it's just some rum, and it's like this mixer that we found. I didn't know this. Justin, thank you. I appreciate that somebody here has eyeballs that wants to admit that they can see it. No, it's some kind of mixer that my wife randomly found, but she bought like 6 of them because they were like super on sale. And neither one of us realized that it's like a limited summer edition one. And because I poured it in there and I was like, I shook this way more than I should have. Why is it like weird looking? And then I looked at the bottle and I was like, oh, it's actually supposed to be glittery. I don't know what the glitter is. I might be injecting something not great.
Hopefully it's safe to consume.
We'll see.
The pretty princess drink. Unfortunately, the soccer that Atlanta's playing is not very pretty. A 0-0 draw against DC United. That was, I mean, to put it lightly, just absolute garbage of a performance.
I have a question, though.
Go ahead.
Question. And I know we want to talk about DC United. Do we have to?
Nah, I don't think so.
It's over. I don't want to talk about it
I think
anymore.
we can mention it as a thing that happened, but if we dwell on this, like if we go beyond like 10 minutes talking about this game, I might just throw up.
I might fall
We
asleep.
did no kidding. No, we did our match review podcast. Go back and watch it on YouTube or listen to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeart. You kind of did a deep dive, or however deep you can get into it because I mean it was a boring match. Brad Guzan, guys, proving his toughness though. One thing I did want to pull out of that, and Doug Robertson reported this in the AJC, suffered a cheek fracture in that collision with Luis Abraham. Ended up staying in the match, but needing surgery on his cheek to repair a fracture. So, guys, I guess TFC, we could see a masked Brad Guzan kind of holding out hope that we see. And, guys, this might be what Atlanta United needs to turn their season around. Brad Guzan in a mask. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. I'm just throwing something out there.
Honestly, dude, I'll
Maybe.
take anything if that's what it takes. Like, if they need me to shave my head for this team to be watchable, I will do it. Just let me know.
Me too.
Just something, man. Anything for this team to play decent soccer, because it's a pain at this point. It's a chore to watch this team, because not only are the results bad, but the overall performances are uninspiring, man. You just don't see the ideas. You don't see the players coming together. It's just, it doesn't bode well for this team. It seems like it just gets worse. And obviously, when you're missing Jay Fortune, who for most of the season was, I guess, the bright spot, right? I mean, we were joking that he was the best player on the team, but maybe he was. And now it's just, that's gone. And so at this point, we're just hanging on for, I mean, we're already talking about the off season. I mean, we're going like, oh, well, these guys' contracts expire. This guy's moving on. This is the transfer work that we need. This is not a good sign, guys.
So 14 matches left, right? You have TFC on Saturday. You have maybe a glimmer of hope against 3 home opponents coming up. I mean, Tommy mentioned it the other day. He says the season's over. I'm holding out hope, guys, that we see a 2016 Sounders-esque turnaround. So I kind of did the math, guys. Stay with me here.
I'm so glad you did, because I
No, I was doing some research. And right now, today, as we speak, Atlanta United has 18 points through 20 matches. The Seattle Sounders, and I'm just doing some live research right now as I kind of pulled up. I just want to make sure I'm telling you right. The Seattle Sounders, through 20 matches in 2016, had at or about as many points as Atlanta United do. So I'm doing the math here, 7.
So you're saying there's
13, 16, 17, 20. So through 20 matches, the Seattle Sounders had 20 points. Atlanta United has 18 through 20 matches. Yes, Tyler, there is a chance. A very faint chance, but there is a chance. And I don't know, maybe go ahead.
Give me those numbers again. I'm just curious. Bruno, I'll explain the glassesless Tyler in a minute.
20 points through 20 matches, the Seattle Sounders. Actually, hold on. Yeah, 20 points through 18 matches for the Seattle Sounders.
Is that better?
That's where they were in 2016.
What are we at right now? 18 points and 20?
18 and 20. And we all know what happened. They won MLS Cup. Now, the cynic will say that they sat Ziggy Smith in that season. In late July, Brian Smetcher took over, and the rest is history. Guys, I hate that. I don't want us to be trending in that direction where Rodney Dyler is fired, interim head coach comes in and turns the season around. That's what happened in 2016. Guys, I just want wins. I just want results. You got to draw against DC. That's not good enough. I want wins. And I'm holding out hope that 2016 Seattle Sounders can be a rallying cry for Atlanta United here in 2025. Same cast of characters, Garth Lagerwey, general manager of that team. Of course, he didn't make I don't think the call came for him to fire Ziggy Smith, but maybe that's what Garth's waiting for July 26th. Maybe he has a big calendar, guys, circled in his office. July 26th. This is when history happened for Toronto FC, the Seattle Sounders. I don't know.
Well,
I'm half kidding.
Well, you never know. But let's kind of talk about it, because you're talking about, if let's take away 2026, because I mean, everybody
2016
having the. Well, no, I'm saying like Take away
Oh,
next
okay.
year
I
for,
see.
for
I
Atlanta.
see.
Assume we're only talking about 2025. And
Right.
you have to, for whatever reason, I don't know, there's a monster chasing your family, and if you don't make the playoffs, then they're gonna get
Wait, a what?
destroyed
what?
by. You
What?
have to make the
A monster
playoffs.
chasing your family.
Yeah, Atlanta United,
Right.
proverbial family. You, I'm sorry.
Hashtag ATL
The
family.
drink is hitting. The glitter, bro. That's hitting hard.
It's actually mixed up gummies, apparently. No,
Right.
but no, like pretend the world. If it ends after 2025, and you want to see Atlanta United make the playoffs this
Yes.
year, what would need to happen with this roster? Because we were going to kind of get into it. This is my really weird segue into that conversation. What
That's a good segue.
needs to change in this roster for Atlanta to make a push?
They need somebody, guys, to connect the back line to
I'll
the
go back and
front
drink my
line.
glitter drink. Thank you very much.
Go ahead and drink. Yeah, they need somebody to connect the back line to the front line, and I kind of cheated. I looked at, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but Tom Bogert from Give Me Sport, transfer reporter extraordinaire, mentioned, this team hasn't had a decent ball moving midfielder since Darlington Nagbe, and with respect to guys like Jay Fortune, who's injured, you kind of need that. You kind of need that connective tissue between the back line and your attacking players. We've talked so many times about this team needing to improve in the spine, and we hope that we had done that. And you have Muyimba, and look, Jay Fortune was terrific before he got injured, and he'll, like I've said before, he'll be a big part of 2026 and beyond for Atlanta United. But who else do you have in that midfield? Cleek, obviously, you brought him on, getting toward the end of his career. Maybe not the performance that you expected from him. Bartek Slić, kind of up and down, has some good qualities, but hasn't been as consistent as I'm sure Atlanta United has hoped. Fortune, who I mentioned, Will Riley in the system. So you have a lot of irons in the fire when it comes to that, but you don't have that one standout player that Atlanta United had when it had Darlington Nagbe here. And you haven't had that since he left the club. So I feel like that's one of the big pieces that Atlanta United needs. One of them, because there's a whole lot more that they need, but that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think?
What do you think, buddy?
I mean, my question right now is how many moves are Chris Henderson and Garth Lagerwey willing to do this summer?
Sure.
Because I think this roster needs a lot of overhaul at a lot of positions. And I think right now, the best course of action is to look at the roster that you have right now and ask yourself, what are the tradable assets on this team? Who could I potentially trade? Who could I get profit for that opens up a spot, and then I could also get something back for it? Excuse me. So I look at this roster and I think Brooks Lennon is a great example of someone that you could potentially trade within the league or outside and get yourself a different right back. I mean, right now, Brooks Lennon does not fit this team the way that it is trying to play, and his crossing, I feel like his crossing ability has diminished, especially this season. I mean, it's been off, and you want to try to move from him if you can, open up and get a different right back, especially so this team isn't constantly trying to force itself to play off of Brooks Lennon's crosses, because I feel like that weakens the team a bit.
Yeah.
I would also look at Bartek Slić as potentially a tradable asset. He hasn't exactly lived up to his hype, and you're disagreeing with me, and that's fine.
No,
but I feel like he hasn't. He was brought in to be a ball-winning midfielder, and he hasn't been that. I mean, he's a decent center midfielder, a decent ball-progressing 8 sometimes, but he gets caught under pressure. He isn't exactly the number 6 that this team needs, and it shows because the play isn't very connected. In that spot, the back line is very exposed up in front of the center backs, because that area isn't very covered very well.
Yeah.
And so I argue that, he is a starter, well, kind of a sometime starter for the Polish national team, and he's still in his prime, you could get some decent money for him. You could get some decent profit for him. So find him a move potentially, and bring yourself a real, hammer of a six, a real. The phrase gets thrown out, but Pitbull, a guy that can really come in and just take control of that area of the midfield, be the ball winner that really connects that back line to the rest of this team, the midfield and the forward part. And then as far as other signings, I would probably look at getting a left winger, because I don't think that this team is long for having Alexei Miranchuk at the 10, especially if he continues playing like he did against DC. I think you at least have to give Miguel Almiron another shot at the 10. He says he's most comfortable there. Yeah, look, we're just moving chess pieces here, but gosh, like, we need to try something, because the same thing isn't working. And Miranchuk at the 10 doesn't work for me. And so move Miggy back to the 10, try him out there. If it works, great. If it doesn't, find yourself another solution, but you still need a left winger, especially if Edwin Mosquera, as rumored, is heading back to Colombia, to Millonarios on loan, according to a good friend, Pipe Sierra. So yeah, those are kind of some of the moves that I would make. A left winger, a ball-winning midfielder, try to see what tradable assets you have, and maybe then you have something of a team that can compete in the rest of the games this season.
Tyler's like doing some research over there. He's like hard at work.
All right, I've got
who are your moves for the summer transfer window?
So I'll get my needs. I'll explain my thoughts on this summer window in a second. So I'm going to kind of circle back to that, but also to kind of set the stage. I threw some things in and gave us some stats, and I enjoy the occasional stat.
Yes.
There's basically, all right, so there's 42 possible points remaining on the table for Atlanta United, right?
Yes.
So Atlanta, if we average out the most recent, let's say, decade of MLS, obviously the playoffs have changed, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. Take this with a grain of salt. Atlanta needs somewhere between 45 and 50 points to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Which means they need between 27 and 32 more points from their final 14 matches, which means average 1.9 to 2.3 points per match, which is equivalent to winning 9 to 11 of their last 14 matches. They have obviously this terrible goal differential. Right now, as it stands, and this is all AI telling me some stuff based on what I put in.
Okay.
The odds of Atlanta United making the playoffs are around 10 to 15%, which is very interesting considering what it was on decision day last year. But
hold on 1 second. Before you go on, how many matches do they need to win approximately to get to the playoffs?
Said between 9 and 11.
Between 9 and 11. So going back just super quick to our example of the 2016 Sounders, in their final 14 matches,
I got some info on that one too.
They won 8 of their final 14 matches.
Yep.
They drew 4 and they lost 2. So they went 8. Yeah. They picked up a heck of a lot of points in the final 14 matches.
Yeah, I mean, you need a run of the ages for sure. At that point, so this is Seattle back in 2016. They had won 6 of the 20 matches. They were second to last place in Western Conference by late July. Their odds back in 2016 at this same time were between 5 and 10%. Has a slightly higher chance. But obviously more teams, more things have changed since then. There's definitely factors, but like the odds of them making it at this point, it's not like we have to win like a one and done game on decision day to make it. This is, you have to be consistently good. It's funny. I put this in AI. This is Claude, if anybody ever cares to use it.
Claude.
Claude said, where'd it go? Oh, where'd it go? I'm trying to filibuster till I find it again.
Well, while you look, part of that team, I'll just say, part of that team was Hurt Gomez, Clint Dempsey, Ozzy Alonso, Christian Roldan, Jordan Morris, Stephen Fry was still around back then. Jelvin Jones has a name I haven't heard in a while. So those are just some of the names. Tyrone Mears, former Atlanta United player, LG Atlanta United from 2017. Just part of the players that were on the team, by the way. Have you recovered Claude?
Tyrone? No, I haven't. No, Tyrone Mears. You shook me with that name, that callback.
Yeah. Now coaching in the USL Super League, by the way.
Yes, he is. No, if I see the stat that pops up again, I will interrupt. But as I continue to look, as far as the other question,
Yes.
the other topic that we were talking about with the summer transfer window, Henry, you mentioned you don't know how active they're going to be, and I think the answer is as active as they possibly can be. I don't think Garth and Chris sit on their haunches and just let this one pass by, because at minimum, you build for next season. At minimum. I mean, and again, like the odds of you making the playoffs this season, they're rough. That's what it was. Essentially, Claude was saying they have to play as a playoff team statistically to make the playoffs this year. They have to, from here on out, play as a playoff team. And we have seen nothing so far this season to indicate that Atlanta United is going to play like a playoff team. They're not.
Right.
I mean, and I hate that, but that's just where we're at as a team. So I think they're going to be as active as they possibly can be. Mihai's a big one.
Yeah.
I think the back line as a whole is going to be a big focus. Brooks Lennon, I think we all agree, is probably the main one that you got to move on from Brooks at this point. And I hate that, man. I like Brooks, but I feel like,
especially with that contract.
Yeah, the contract is rough, but at the end of the day, I think ever since the end of 2023, he was so like gung ho about really, really trying to push himself into the men's national team. We heard him in the locker room, all of us, and he was talking about it. He was very adamant about it, and he continued to get snubbed. And I'm not saying this is the reason. Again, I'll say it again. I never question players' motivations, but I think some of his work rate has fallen off in terms of like the individual work that he was doing. Back then, we heard from Gonzalo Pineda and others talking about how like this man was staying after every day, like studying film from some of the best fullbacks in the world, diving into, how to be a better defender because that was his primary job, but also working on his crosses with Giakoumakis at the time.
Yeah.
And it just feels like that's kind of gone by the wayside.
Has he gotten complacent, do you think? Or
I think that's maybe part of it. I think at the end of the day, sometimes players just need a new change of scenery, Yeah. So Brooks Lennon for sure. Stian Gregerson, out. Stian Gregerson.
Because of this injury history,
I think.
And that contract, man, for the little time that he's playing and what you're paying him, which is over $1 million.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Stian Gregerson. Who else? I do agree. Like, I think the midfield, you've got some changes that need to be made. And as far as like, if you could pick one position in the entire pitch that needs to be completely reevaluated, it's that finding the Darlington Nagbe-esque guy. Tristan Meoma got here and everybody was like, this is the new Darlington Nagbe. And it just hasn't quite panned out to that degree.
Yeah.
You've got to find a guy that knows how to control every aspect of the game from front to back, tempo, the ball being box to box, being able to play through lines, everything. That's big if they can move on from somebody, because the midfield is incredibly clogged right now. Glick is on his way out, I would imagine, probably at the end of the season, because I doubt they're going to go try to renegotiate a contract with him based off a DP contract that DC's using right now.
Right.
And then besides that, I mean, just whoever you can bring in to essentially replace the fullback situation. And I agree, Henry, left winger. Give me a left winger who has grown up his entire life playing the left wing and knows it front to back. That's all I want. I don't
And
care
has
what
it-
age they are.
Luke
And
Brennan.
has at least scored one professional goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. I mean, outside of Amador, they really have nothing on the left. Consistently, nothing on the left, and they traded away Silva. But that's a big one that they need to get right, Tyler. Like you're saying, bring in somebody that has the experience, has the knowledge, someone who. I mean, if you want to bring in a prime age player who has had success in sort of the lower level European leagues, that's a good place to start. Is on the left wing. Will it happen in this one, or will it happen in the winter? That remains to be seen.
Yeah. Some of these comments, like Gray, Zilf, Brian, like team. I think team was there at the training ground. But no, I mean, I think everybody is kind of that opinion, though. Ultimately, that like this summer window, you don't just sit there and hope that something happens and something changes. Like changes have to be
Right.
made. Period. I don't think Garth and Chris expected to be in this position 6 months ago. I really don't. But
No,
I don't think anybody did. But this is where you're at. And now it's like, you have to kind of break glass in case of emergency situation. Or figure out what curse has been placed on you by somebody and go burn the voodoo doll that's hiding somewhere at the training ground. I don't know what else to say. But like this team should not be this bad as it stands. But there is absolutely, and I'm gonna say it, there's a cultural problem.
Yeah.
And I hate that it
There's
gets
that
thrown
C word
around so
again.
much, but it's true though. There is a cultural problem at Atlanta United, and you've got players that are not living up to the expectations.
Can I go back to the example of 2016 Seattle Sounders? So they
boy.
fired, they fired Ziggy Smith, as you mentioned, on July 26th. On July 27th, a few days into the summer transfer window, the Sounders brought in a player from Boca Juniors named Nicolas Ladero, and we all know
That guy.
the impact that he has had on the Sounders and really MLS as a whole, one of the best midfielders in MLS. So I'm not saying you go and get a Nico Ladero for Atlanta United.
No, you
but
do.
You
do.
so
Please.
I mean, maybe. So remember, Ladero's on a DP contract, so I don't think you need to go out and get a DP
Find
in
a
the
DP
summer.
spot somewhere. The same place where Miami finds one for DePaul. You find one for whoever else. Even if it means even if it means moving Moranchuk out, because honestly, I'm done with him at this point. I cannot with Moranchuk anymore.
So do you try to get a DP in the summer? Is that
if you can move? If you find someone who will take Moranchuk, then yes, sign a DP. A DP 10, or if Miggy's going to be your 10, then DP right winger, or something. But first figure out, okay, who is going to play where? Is Miggy going to play the 10? Is he going to play winger? And then once you have that position figured out, that is when you figure out who your DP signing is going to be. I don't think it's going to happen because Garth did mention at one point, like, oh yeah, the DPs are probably safe. But if it happens, I wouldn't complain.
I've kind of talked myself out of that though, and this is kind of based on our match reaction conversation. I feel like nothing has to be off the table at this point in time, short of selling Miguel Marón, sort of selling Latte Lot. I think if you can move Miranchuk, do it. Like send him back to Europe because it's not working.
Are you saying you wouldn't if it worked out, you wouldn't get rid of Miggy or Latte Lath?
No, I wouldn't. I mean,
it's Latte Lath. I would give at least another chance, but
yeah. I mean, I think Latte Lot, I think Miggy aren't going anywhere. I think if anyone is Miranchuk, right, then perhaps you can look to bring in a designated player at that winger spot, move Miguel around to the 10, and then hopefully the left wing you bring in or the winger you bring in performs to the level that you need him to perform at. Barring that, you have some movement to bring in a TAM level player, don't you? Or I mean, maybe you don't even need a TAM level player. If it is, you can bring in a low TAM level player. And my point is, you don't need to spend big. You don't need to spend too big to get somebody in that you need. You already did it in the offseason. It didn't work. It hasn't worked. But by and large, you got to make this team better in the summer. Tyler, you're right. You can't just sit on your hands and do nothing, because that's not the way. And that's pretty much saying, we're satisfied with where this team is right now. Don't wait until the winter window when you have transfers or we have contracts running out. If you can move out some assets right now, do it. There are certainly willing trade partners for Brooks Lennon. There should be a market for Alexei Miranchuk. Find ways to get these players moved out, open up some spots, and bring in players that can really elevate this team. Whoever that is remains to be seen.
I'm going to put on my very objective hat as much as I possibly can here and give you the argument.
Yes.
So 3 DPs, right?
Yes.
At this point, let's start with Latte Lath. Latte Lath came in, biggest transfer fee in MLS history.
Yes.
And has basically scored all of his goals in the very beginning of the season, when things were at least okay before they tanked. He has not been used, in my opinion, the way that he should be used.
He hasn't.
So based on the money situation and based on the fact that I feel like he's being entirely misused, I don't know that you can just say, unless the right offer comes, you move on. But I don't think that's where we're at. I think that's what I can say.
Without a doubt.
Miggy, I will take away the fact that he is a club legend, so he deserves a second chance. Because
I don't know. I don't know.
Let me hang on. This is a business.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Right. Let me hang on a minute. Just chill out.
Go ahead.
Take away that. All right. And you do have a known factor in what he can do. Again, if used properly. That being said, I don't say he's entirely safe. I think if the right offer, if you find somebody that can come in and complement this team the way that Ronny Deila, if you're putting all your dice, and eggs in the Ronny Deila basket, you need to find somebody that's going to play that position the way that it needs to be played. But you know what you can get out of Miguel Almiron. You just have to say, hey, dude, stick to your freaking position and play it the way that I'm telling you to play it.
Except if they get a good offer and then you sell them. That's what you're saying.
If it happens and you can bring in somebody that's going to be a little more well-rounded, absolutely, yeah.
But you wouldn't sell Miguel Almiron, Sydney?
No, I wouldn't. Why did you bring in a player in the offseason and just sell him 6 months later?
I don't think it happened.
I think
I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm saying you're saying that. Just I don't know if it would happen.
But again, all offers on the table, you have to consider something, because right now this team is literally the worst it's ever been. I mean, worse than the COVID year, and that was a crap show. That this is not at all where this team wants to be. So I think you have to consider every offer. Do I think it happens? No. Alexei Miranchuk, again, going kind of to the pros and cons of each. Miggy, I know for a fact you at least have a positive, kind of guy in the locker room, and somebody that is going to come out every day to training and push and push and push, and be kind of the role model. Now, is that necessarily translating right now? No, it's not. But Alexei Miranchuk, on the other hand, is a guy who he doesn't exude confidence.
Right.
He doesn't exude being a leader and trying to elevate those around him. And he hasn't, nobody, I'll be fair, all three of them, nobody has put up DP numbers. But Alexei Miranchuk at least been here for a year at this point. And his numbers are some homegrowns have pushed out the numbers that
Yeah.
Alexei Miranchuk has within a year at Atlanta United. So I don't know that anybody's safe. Now, if we go back to the interview on 92.9, Garth essentially said everybody is, all the DPs are safe in so
Right.
few words. But from our perspective, when you look at maybe some of the changes that need to happen in this team, I don't know that any of them deserve to be safe at this point.
I think
I
if
agree.
I think if anybody gets sold as Alexi, I mean,
I'm done cooking.
Has
by
to
the
be.
way.
again, you don't bring in a player and then 6 months later say, you know what, we're going to sell you. It better be a really, 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 really good offer if you want to sell Miguel Morel, like an extraordinary offer. But at the age he's at, what is that offer? Is the big question. And I just don't know. I'm not saying you're saying it's going to happen, but I just don't know. But I do know you can't do nothing this summer transfer window because again, you're just saying, hey, we're okay with where we are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, for me, I'll bring it up again. LAFC. They signed Olivier Giroud last summer. He wasn't what they expected. He didn't put up the production they expected of him. They moved on this summer. They found a way to do it. A mutual contract termination. They bought him out, basically. Miranchuk's on a heavy contract. That's going to be a tough buyout. But if I were in charge, I might even consider. I mean, we're talking about Arthur Blank, and Arthur Blank, I don't mean to say that I would just spend your money willy-nilly, but we're talking about a team that right now needs a difference maker. And that is not a Miranchuk. And I mean, is a couple $1 million to buy out this guy and make space for someone else that could potentially impact this team, is that too much? Is it crazy to think that like if no offer comes for Alexei Miranchuk and this team decides, okay, we absolutely need to get someone, right? We need to change something drastic for them to buy out Alexei Miranchuk. I don't necessarily think it's a something that we should eliminate out of hand. I think it's an option that should be considered. If they have been evaluating targets and they realize that, because I mean, I look at like Evander and I look at some of these other players around the league, even Minnesota's Joaquin Pereira looks just miles better, is doing things that Alexei Miranchuk isn't doing right now, and that would make this team instantly better. And so I have to consider that if there is an opportunity to move on from him or do anything to get him out of the roster and open that DP slot, I would take it.
So you're assuming that he doesn't get an offer. You're assuming that there is no offer that's going to come in for Alexei Miranchuk.
I just don't know who would look at what he is doing this season and be like, oh yeah, I would pay X amount of money.
And that's my other thing really quick.
Nobody that will come out.
You to cook for sure. But that was kind of my other thing.
A lot of cooking tonight.
Yeah, it's time to cook.
It's the cooking show.
And I lack cooking and a whole lot of microwave meals at this point this season.
Yeah.
No, Alexei Miranchuk, that's the other thing. Again, talking about positives and negatives. His numbers weren't exactly phenomenal as a sub before, it was essentially what he was. There was kind of this idea that like, all right, he should fit the team, but the numbers weren't necessarily there to back it up, except for in Russia. And that's a different league entirely, if we're being honest. So I just think it's maybe they got a little bit of apples and oranges involved in the scouting situation with Alexei, and it just hasn't translated into success. And again, that's not to say that I favor one, because I see the chat, people are like, get rid of, I can't believe y'all are calling this man Piggy at this point though. Like,
right.
The guy's still a legend, but I get it. Like, I just think it's so bad this season. Nobody can be safe. Nobody can be safe. I don't think you do get rid of Miggy or Latte Loth. I think it'd be kind of crazy because at least like in your head going forward, like next year, things could click and things could change and you get back on the right track with some other moves. Because if we're being honest, it's not the big name moves that are going to change this team. It's the unsung heroes that are going to come in and do the job that needs to be done and complement the DPs. But I get it. Fans are tired of waiting. Like I'd see my son in the chats like, can we just start a new Atlanta save file? It's how I feel. Like, let's turn it off and turn it back on, man. It's ridiculous.
Sim to end of season.
Right.
But yeah, I feel you, man. And again, like I see a bunch of people in the chat and on socials go like, oh well, Alexi's our best attacker, and he's, you know, he has to be the. And I'm like, guys, once y'all see a proper number 10 on this team, you will forget Alexei Miranchuk even existed.
It's like the bar's kind of low at this point, isn't it?
Right? Yes. We're like, are we happy right now with this team that we are saying, oh, he's the best attacker on this team, so we must keep him? Are we happy with that?
Right.
Are we happy with what he's putting with what he's putting up right now?
Exactly.
That's my question for real.
Yeah.
Because I am not happy with this. I'm not happy with this production for one of the most expensive DPs in the league right now, and he has 2 goals, 3 assists in 20 games.
Yeah, not good enough.
I mean, come on, guys. Like, if this team had Thiago Almada, even these numbers would be better. If this team had literally any half decent number 10 in this league, I'm willing to bet those numbers would be better. And yeah, central midfield, I definitely agree. This team needs a Nagby replacement. Hasn't had one for 5 years.
2016 Seattle Sounders, guys. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
This man is holding on to it.
If they make the playoffs, remember that I was the one that brought it up. If they make the playoffs, remember.
We will save the receipt.
Definitely.
I don't know, man. I think, you know, we're essentially going through all these comments and the conversations. And of course we see stuff on social media. The twos are playing, by the way. We'll keep you updated on that as we go through the show. But, I mean, I think the fans are just kind of sick and tired at this point, and it's fair. It's been, you know, it's weird to look back at 2020. And I remember watching this team because they were in the Champions League at the time, Champions League that year. And then everything happened with Joseph, and then the world shut down. And it feels like those two things were the door shutting on one version of Atlanta and the door opening on another when they came back to the MLS's back tournament, you know, a couple months later. Yeah. And it hasn't been the same since. And there's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of changes everywhere throughout the club. The one thing that hasn't changed a whole lot, if we're being honest, is the academy and the twos. And like, that's constantly been something that's churning out talent. And, you know, you've said it, Sydney, a lot, but if this team can focus more on pushing through the talent to get them to the first team, but then also giving them the time that they need with the first team. We had Parkey on, you know, a month and a half ago, and he said Noah Cobb needs a lot more minutes, a lot more time, a lot more consistency. And he's not getting time. And I don't know why. Again, I said it the other day. I want to ask Ronnie Dalla about this specifically. I just haven't been able to talk to him in the past couple of weeks. But why is Noah Cobb not getting minutes when some other players are on the back line? And I mean, I'm grateful that he's playing for the twos tonight, but it's like, though you can't stop these guys.
He needs first team football
at that level. Yeah. I mean, they get stuck in that purgatory of, you know, just, all right, we're good enough for the twos. We're better than we should be, but we can't break into the first team. And I'll end it with this before y'all jump in.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago in Orlando, I talked with Tyler Wolff after one of the matches, and it was him after it was an Orlando draw that Tyler Wolff scored the goal to pull back the equalizer, like in the 88th minute or something.
Right.
both he and Brad Guzan specifically said that the homegrowns or the players that maybe get traded in from, other teams, academies, everything else, they have to work twice as hard minimum
Sure.
to push into a team like Atlanta United that isn't afraid to spend on talent, because
Sure.
if they need it now, then they're going to go buy it now. They're going to go fill that position with somebody that they know.
Yeah.
So if you're not on your P's and Q's as an academy player, as a twos player, and you're not up in your game and hungry every single day, there is a very good chance you could get left behind at a team like Atlanta United. And that's something I really want to see. Ronnie told me at the very beginning of the season, I was the one that played, Martinelli at 15 years old, and look what he's gone and done in his career. I wanted to see more of that, and we've seen some of it. He played Efrain the other day.
Odegaard.
Yeah, but and Jay, I mean, like, it's happening, but I want to see it more, because at this point, if now's not the time to try it, I don't know when you're going to try it. This season is crap. So if you're going to play the kids, put all of them out there at this point, because you're not going to do any worse. I'll get off my soapbox. Anyway, I'm done.
Shall we switch gears?
Yes.
ScarsandSpikes.com, guys, has ScarsandSpikes.com has all of our Atlanta United coverage, win, lose, or draw. Also a link to our store. Click on that, get some Scars and Spikes merchandise, hats, cups, glasses, coffee mugs, the whole 9 yards. As always, be sure to follow us on social media. I'm at SH Writes on X, SH Writes on B Sky, that's social on Blue Sky. Sid H.Soccer on Instagram and Threads. Tyler, Tommy, and Henry are at ATL Pilgrim. Tommy, ATL Navy Assistant, H.A. Higita on all social media platforms. We collectively are at Scars and Spikes on X, Scars and Spikes everywhere else. Scars, the letter N, Spikes on X, and Scars and Spikes on all other social media platforms. Can we talk about TFC now? Speaking of teams that are rebuilding and have made some significant moves on their roster, this is a very different TFC team, guys, that we've seen in previous years. Another club that has had success in MLS, and over the past few years, not so much. 17 points right behind Atlanta United. Second from the last team in the Eastern Conference, just 3 points ahead, CF Montreal. So pretty much the same thing we saw against DC United, essentially, the other day.
Yay.
I guess it can't be any worse than it was against this DC United, right? It can't be any worse. I mean,
why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Literally, it's always a rule that once you say that, it gets worse. Have you not watched movies, Sydney?
I know.
Come on.
But it just these are two teams that have been terrible this season. And I already said with TFC, of course, parting with the Italians, Ixinde and Bernardeschi, who didn't click with TFC, and now they have a clean slate pretty much to do what they need to do after or once the summer transfer window opens. I guess, guys, one good thing about this, maybe not that it matters that much, one good thing about this is at least Atlanta United doesn't play TFC after the window opens, and two presumably new players for TFC are in and sort of elevate the team. But I feel like certainly a lot of more parallels between Atlanta United and DC United, or between Atlanta United and TFC than there are between Atlanta United and DC United. TFC, again, a whole new club is coming in pretty much, and they pretty much have a blank slate with two open DP slots to do what they need to do. But again, as far as this season 2025, things have not gone according to the plan. Well, maybe they have, but this is a team that has vastly underperformed, maybe picking up a little momentum toward the middle of the season, but other than that, just has not been a very good club. And this is your last chance if you're Atlanta United to get a win away from home. And we've talked about what if they go winless on this road stretch. It was 6 now 5 game road stretch, and they're staring that in the face with a loss or a draw against TFC.
Now, Toronto, a team that has won one game in its last 6, they are just below Atlanta, I think, in the standings. They are now in 14th after Atlanta's 1 point, put them just above. But yeah, and also Atlanta has historically struggled at BMO Field, which is it's why I'm not too optimistic about it, because even like good Atlanta teams have had difficulties in that stadium. But
hey, maybe this year they break through being bad.
Maybe that's the key. But certainly when we're talking about a team that has just bought out 2 of its DPs, it's probably the best time that you can possibly play this team. And I guess, in a sense, kick them while they're down, I guess, even though you're also kind of down. So it's a weird visual, but you're down and you're kicking someone else who's down. I don't know if that works, but yeah. So it's look, like you said, it's probably their best chance now. I mean, we thought last week was the best chance, but now this is their best chance for a road win. So yeah, go do that. Try to build some momentum. Play decent soccer. I don't know. At this point, I don't think there's anything else we can ask of this team. We keep asking them to play decent soccer and do good, and they just don't.
More than one shot on goal.
Oh God, don't even remind me.
Dude,
infuriated me. Like, how do you have attack and you can't put more than one shot on goal? It's hard to score when you don't put shots on goal, guys. Can we agree on that?
I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay, why are we not taking shots at goal?
I don't know.
I mean, just kick it.
Yeah,
someone kick the ball. But no, and then the shots that they do take, like, and here's where I come back to Tyler, what you said about Latte Lot being used the wrong way. That's the same excuse that I had used for him, and that was my justification for his performances. But he's had his chances too, and he's had shots that just put way off target. In this game, he put one that wasn't even close. I mean, he was pretty, inside the box. And yes, it's a volley. It's a difficult shot to hit.
What was the tweet that you put out?
Oh yeah, I thought it was fireworks, and it was actually just the shot hitting my roof. Because really, I mean, you paid $22 million for that, and he's being paid. He has one of the higher DP salaries in the league, so it's just disheartening, right? And sure, the team is not ideal in terms of chance creation. It's not doing the things that we want them to do, but when he gets his chances, he has to take them. Like I think we have to stop giving him so much leeway and so much justification. He needs the same scrutiny that the other 2 DPs are getting, especially as he starts to get chances like he did against Cincinnati, where he was 1-on-1 against the keeper and put it on, side netting, like he did in one of these other games that he also had a pretty good opportunity. I think it was against NYCFC or one of the New York teams. He had a similar chance and he still missed. And now this one. So yeah, I'm going off on the tangent of tangents, but
no, you're right.
I don't know if I have enough faith in this team to play well against Toronto. But if they do, I will be pleasantly surprised.
I'll say this real quick before Tyler jumps in. I'll never forget 2018. I was at BMO Field, and they just got the crap beat out of them. It was decision day, 2018, and they just crapped the bed against TFC at BMO Field,
and they choked the supporter shield.
And they choked the supporter shield away. I mean, ultimately, it didn't matter. They won MLS Cup, but I remember thinking, "My gosh, this is what this team is going to do in the playoffs, right?" Just playing that poorly, and it's funny that it was kind of the bookend of the season. They got destroyed at Houston. They got destroyed at TFC, and they ended up winning MLS Cup. Go figure. But that kind of tags off your point, Henry, about BMO Field kind of being a house of horrors for Atlanta United. But hopefully that changes on Saturday.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
It might as well be.
Why not beat Toronto?
Why not? You only have to win between 9 and 11 of your last 14 to make the playoffs.
Only?
AI.
How many games? This team has played 20 games. How many have they won?
Right.
4. I can count them on one hand.
Ah!
Hey, do you know what one of those games is? An away trip to Inter Miami.
Yay!
Aren't you just excited? Oh, and hosting
awesome.
Columbus.
Oh,
Just
we beat
thrilled
Columbus
for
last
that.
year, but with a little better team, though. But I'm not saying it can't happen.
Well,
but
a team that was playing
slim.
better.
Yeah, exactly.
Team, yeah.
I appreciate y'all's optimism, but I can't anymore.
Look, this is the literal definition of until the fat lady sings. And that fat lady is warming up immensely.
Okay, Stian Gregerson, chill out.
Well, at least he wasn't wrong last year, but we need that same energy.
Yeah. All of them have to have that.
Yeah.
So Toronto coming up this weekend. Just a couple of quick little things. Obviously, the Twos are playing now. Almost 23rd minute. Tied 0-0 against Cincinnati 2. You've had some really cool stuff coming out about the unified team, which has been really, really cool. Really neat to see. So go check that out if you haven't. And then the media center / what do you call it? What's the best name for it?
The content studio that they're opening
content,
up.
yeah, the studio, everything else. That's all opening up, and they really hit on that today. Atlanta United did. So they're opening this studio that essentially is a newsroom at the training ground, but it's part of the big expansion that they're doing. And we did the tour earlier this year, a couple months ago, before the media match. Go watch that if you want real entertaining soccer and don't want to watch what you've been watching lately. But no, go check out kind of some of the stuff that's been put up about it. We've kind of been talking about it, but essentially, yeah, it's a full-on studio like what you would see in a newsroom at like WSB TV or Fox 5 or whatever. You have that. You have a full-on podcasting studio. You have a gaming area for Mr. Paolo Neto to stay up late at 2 o'clock in the morning and destroy people on the internet on EAFC. Media room, for us when we go to the training grounds to be able to interview players, interview coaches, whatever, do work. And then one of the big things, and I know it gets so lost because of the crappy way the team has been playing lately, but we try to bring y'all everything about the club, not just the first team. But like the way that they designed this next part of the training ground, this expansion, it was designed so that you have your academy folks, your twos folks, your development pipeline, like the scouts, everything. They're in kind of one place, commingling together. Yeah, at least there were goals in the media match. So great, 100%, and they were good ones too. But the whole design was based around keeping everybody involved and communicating together, as opposed to having the academy doing their own thing, and then the twos have no idea what's going on with the academy, and so it's a really cool thing. I'm really impressed with it. Also, as a complete byproduct of it, it helps Atlanta get some more cool teams for the World Cup to train here next year. But when it opens, it'll be very impressive, and I think you'll see a lot more of the really good content that the media team does coming out from the training ground, because they do great work. They really do. And I hate that it gets lost kind of in like the way playing, but they do awesome stuff, and this will just make it better.
And the renderings look really cool.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it when it comes live. Guys, we didn't do predictions for TFC though.
No, we did not. We should do that.
Well,
what do you
y'all
got?
didn't. We put them in the chat.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did.
I didn't.
Okay, fine then. Whatever. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah, I just called a hunch. Call it blind optimism. Call it glass half full. Call it whatever you want. I'm saying 1-0 Atlanta United. I'm going to say it's a fluky goal. It's some weird kind of thing that happens throughout the match that, we'll look back and say, gosh, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe they got out of town with a win. But that's what I think will happen. I think it'll be 1-0 Atlanta in a fluke kind of situation. Henry, what is your prediction?
I'm gonna say 1-0 Toronto. Because again, I don't really trust this team to score goals, even against shaky back lines. I mean, can't get much shakier than DC, who've conceded like 39 goals this season. You can't get past them. Forget about it. So yeah, I think Toronto. I mean, they don't have an impressive attack either. So I just think they find some sort of lucky, fluky goal and win by the minimal difference.
Tyler?
Yeah, that's fair. Omar said 3-0 TFC. Team said 1-1. I'm going to go with 1-1 as well, actually. I think somebody figures out how to take a shot or its own goal. I don't know.
Hey.
I think something happens, and I think Toronto's going to get theirs at home. I don't think this is suddenly going to break the winless streak up in Canada in Toronto anyway. But I'll do a 1-1 draw. I'll take that.
Fair.
All right. Well, running through some of the other predictions, Tommy says 1-0 Atlanta. Gray says a 0-0 draw. And Jackson, got to scroll down and find it because he's always late. He said a 1-1 draw.
I don't want another 0-0 draw. I can't sit through another 0-0 draw, guys.
Oh gosh, no.
I'm sorry.
No, that was
I can't
terrible.
sit through another one. Great.
Would you rather watch Atlanta United versus Toronto FC or the media game? To me, the answer is very clear, guys.
Hey, if you haven't watched the media game, you need to go watch it. That was entertainment at its finest.
It was
The comeback
dramatic. It
win.
had everything.
Yeah, the comeback win, too.
It was good.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
Penalty shootouts involved. I mean, like the whole 9 yards, man.
I know.
What do
It
you
was
like?
epic.
Gripping
Legend.
action throughout the media game.
It was
It's on
peak-
YouTube if you
peak
want to watch
stuff.
it back.
Absolutely.
Man, and I had one go off the bar.
It lives in your dreams. We know
It
that.
You just can't catch a break in these
I
games.
can't catch a
Tyler.
break, man. But
I'm
Nope.
committing. I'm committing to 2026. By the way, I'm committing to 2026.
let's go.
You're gonna play? Oh, there we
Let's
I'm
go.
gonna get out there.
You heard it here
I'm gonna
first,
get out
guys.
there. Yes,
This is gonna be fun. Jacob said TFC wins 2-0. Brian 2-0 to both TFC. While everybody puts in their opinions, predictions, everything else. Here are the renderings of this media space. Super cool. It's called the Emory Healthcare Studio.
Nice.
That's not it, but there we go.
There you
Load.
go.
Load quicker, please.
Looks very nice, very modern.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that they'll be able to do here is pretty impressive. This is
Pretty
kind of
cool.
like the overall view of it. Like, it looks professional, like you said. It's really neat. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a chance to be there in some
Yeah.
way,
That'd be
shape, form, or
What if
fashion.
we hosted Scarves and Spikes live from the training ground studio?
That would be cool. Hey, Atlanta, we can make it happen.
Guys, let's talk.
We
You'll
can
know
make
my
it.
number.
Yeah. I think that's it.
I think so.
Anything else? Social media. We're on social. I'm at SH Rights. SH Rights at Blue Skies at social. B Skies at social. SidH.soccer on Instagram threads. Tyler Tommy Henry at ATL Pilgrim. Tommy ATL 96. HA Gita on all social media platforms. We're at Scars for Letter and Spikes on X. Scars and Spikes, everyone else. And of course, scarsandspikes.com.
Yep.
Go to the store. Go to patreon.com/Scars and Spikes. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yes, indeed.
Buy yourself a hat, buy yourself a beer glass so you can make a
Yes.
glittery drink like Tyler over there. He's almost finished it.
I'm
Yeah.
getting close.
And also make sure to join the Patreon. $17 a month gets you access to tons of exclusive content, exclusive interview audio, our
Yes.
unfiltered series, which I might do one this week because I'm just that pissed off about it. The
Truly
Patreon mailbag.
unfiltered.
The Patreon mailbag, which we're gonna record one very, very soon.
Yes.
And yeah, also the Discord, because we have tons of fun talking on the Discord. We have a great community there, and we'd love to have you guys on.
Sometimes we talk soccer in the Discord.
Sometimes we do talk about soccer. Sometimes we talk about Pirates,
Atlanta United.
food, other stuff.
Everything.
Yeah,
all the sports in Atlanta.
that
Yeah.
too. For
If
added
something
pain.
big is happening, that's definitely where we'll be posting it first. Twitter shortly thereafter, and Instagram and everywhere else. But
Yes.
the Discord is the place to be. So if you're not part of the Patreon
Yes.
yet, go jump in. It's a good time though. We have a lot of fun. We were doing like some Call of Duty nights. I know a lot of people have been playing Rematch lately, and we have some Rocket League going on in there and everything else. We need to get back to Call of Duty because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing Sea of Thieves tonight too. But yeah, no, it's a good time. It's a really fun group of people, environment, atmosphere, whatever you want to call it.
Join
So,
us. Become one of us.
Yeah.
Do it now.
because when you have to go watch Atlanta
You need something
afterward, you have a lot of
Chase it.
people to complain to.
By the way, we also do watch-alongs if you're in the Discord, so that's an
Yes.
added bonus.
Yes,
You don't have to
absolutely.
suffer alone. You can do it with us.
Right. No, but thanks to our Patreon supporters. Thanks to everybody who watches, listens. Be sure to like, subscribe on YouTube if you aren't already. And of course, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart. Leave a review. Let us know what you think of the show. And, definitely helps us as we look to grow our following here at Scarves and Spike. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. If you're supporting us on Patreon, we definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And with that, cue the music.
Who was asking earlier about my glasses?
I don't know, but you want to tell that story as the credits roll?
I mean, there's not much of a story to it. I got contacts back finally, guys. It only took me
Wow.
like 15,
Nice.
20 years. I got my contacts.
Good, man. Congratulations. Guys, we are close to returning to the Bends for Atlanta United.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a while since we've been to the Bends.
7 weeks.
Wow.
We go from watching
For Atlanta United game, I should say.
For Atlanta United, yeah. For
Yeah.
Club World Cup is much more recent, but
watching
Right.
PSG and Bayern, and that amazing match that was probably one of the highest classed matches ever played inside the Bends.
Yeah.
To what we might be seeing. And I don't want to call it a dumpster fire because I don't want to be that negative, but oh boy.
buddy, we are way past negative.
Please be better. Please be better, Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly.
You only have to win 9 to 11
Right.
of your last 14. That's all you
You
got to
say
do.
that like it's not a lot.
God said you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.